So I'm here with Allan Ross, founder of Ross Property Consultant. Thank you for being here. We want to know a little bit more about the man behind the business. So tell us a little bit about yourself, but also why did you actually become a property entrepreneur?
Well, property is intriguing and there's so many options within the property industry, and I feel that I want to be part of that because whether you're a billionaire and you're building hotels or whether you're just a first time buyer or investor, everybody has their own property journey, and I'm a people's person and I want to be part of people's lives and on their property journey and see if I can help them succeed and reach their targets.
And were you always interested in property from an early age?
From about the age of 16, when I moved actually to Boston, I lived in a property of multiple occupancy with a house full of footballers, which I can tell you was very entertaining. However, our football coach, who owned the property, also owned a local business, and his business, he'd actually converted 2 properties from residential to commercial. So it was always quite intriguing, and I was also asking questions all the time, and as he was investing, it was something that I could see was potentially going to be an avenue of income for me at a later time of my career.
And you then went to work in property, did you, as an estate agent?
I did. I didn't know anything about property whatsoever, and actually I owned a property at that time. I didn't know how I bought it or how the bills were paid, to be honest. The wife dealt with all that, but certainly I didn't know anything, and I just grew in confidence just as a negotiator, and then I managed to get more experience and I started advising people, and I thought I was quite good at it.
And you were a manager there, you had about 15 years experience, and that was sort of one of the UK's best independent estate agents. But then you decided to leave that job and set up your own business. So why did you do that?
Well, it's quite funny because friends said to me, "Are you having a breakdown?" And it was completely opposite. I was having a breakthrough. I'd always planned to be a property entrepreneur and to try to go on my own journey. It seemed as though people thought that I was nuts, but I had a vision, and certainly as a property investor you're going to need a bit of drive. And I just knew that one day I'd be able to offer all my advice to people, but on a personal level.
Sorry, in October 2014 you then launched Ross Property Consultant. So what did you need to do to actually get that business up and running?
Motivation, absolutely key. I've got such a drive within myself. I wouldn't advise everybody to pack up your 9 till 5 and just set up a company if you haven't got that determination. So I decided to open the doors helping buyers, where for so long of my career I was helping the sellers. I found that there's a niche and there's a need in the marketplace for people to come to and have some friendly advice, but also expert advice within the industry.
And what's your working day like? What do you do every day?
Crazy. Crazy. Starts about 6 a.m. and normally I'm checking emails, checking Rightmove, Zoopla, so all the major property portals. I strategise my day, so I'm looking and seeing exactly what my appointments are, which agents I need to call on that specific day. So really I'm contacting agents to find if there's been a price reduction, if someone's change of circumstance, that means that they may look for a quick sale. You know, I have a mailing list of buyers, so it might be that I need to get onto them straight away. I'm viewing approximately 5 to 8 properties a day currently.
And do you have a different approach for different properties?
Yes, each property is individual, and dependent on what property I'm looking at, I know in the back of my mind what client I'm actually acting for. So each property investor or first time buyer has their own requirements. So I'm looking for maybe location, could we add value, is there room to extend, is that client specifically that I'm looking for, looking at flipping the property, so does there need to be a lot of cash needed to be injected into the property, or is it a good modern property that could be let quite comfortably, easily, with a good return. So each day and each property is very different.
And you mentioned there that you work with both first-time buyers and property investors. In terms of a property investor, what do you think is the biggest challenge for investors right now?
At the moment, with the government bringing out the new stamp duty rules, it's really going to hit some investors hard. I'd have said that particularly is going to be in the larger cities, where investment properties are say 250,000, compared to Lincolnshire, where I'm mainly based, and you've got an investor that could be buying between 80 to 120,000. So dependent on where you are, may hit you. Say locally in Lincolnshire, it doesn't have to hit you that hard whatsoever, but there's certainly going to be challenges within the marketplace.
And what do you think is the biggest misconception about property investors?
That it's easy. One day you agree to buying a property and the next day you've made a quick buck. But certainly it's a long-term game. You've got to look for maybe a 10-year cycle. Anybody that feels they're going to get into the property industry and make quick money, they're probably going to find that they fall flat on their face.
And are there support networks out there for property investors? What type of resources are available?
As coming to say someone like myself that's been in the industry for a long time, I think it's always good to go to say the local PIN meetings, which is Property Investor Network. They're really good and they don't cost a great deal, but you're in a room full of investors and professionals, and it's people that we can talk one-on-one with, find ideas, but also the Progressive Property Network are fantastic as well. They're showing you different style of investments, from commercial, probably if you want to get into the HMO route, or just if you're a first time investor looking to buy one property to buy to let. So meeting people is absolutely key.
Okay, and you're obviously an expert in this field. What do you think the property market will look like in 2 years? What are the opportunities?
There's lots of opportunities out there, and certainly I'd like to feel that, say in a more rural location such as Lincolnshire, if the councils become easier to work with and they allow agricultural barn conversions and more residential offering to the potential people that want to relocate and maybe convert, then I still think there's a massive market out there. So even if it's not an investor's point of view, certainly first time buyers should be able to take the market where the investors have opted out, but also certainly in rural areas, if the planning is a lot easier, I can see there'd be a lot more new builds.
So very finally, tell us what makes your property business stand out, and what is your role in making that business stand out?
The personal aspect. I feel that there's so many corporate companies these days, and I don't think that you get the personal touch. If you call me, you won't get a script. You're just going to get general friendly advice with an approach of come to see me for a cup of tea and let's try to work out where you want to go from starting out, or whether you're looking to build your portfolio. And I feel that there's no other company in many miles of where I'm based that offer that quite unique and personal service.
Well, that seems like a good vision to end on. So thank you ever so much, Alan, and wish you all the best with Ross Property Consultant.
Thank you.